Monday. You're locked on to LRS102.com. I'm Jen Yates. You're on Jyneration Nation. I'm so excited it's Monday. And my guest today, the most amazing person ever, John Austin Clark. How are you?
Oh, please, Jen. Stop it. You're just being so kind to me today.
I know.
Those adjectives are so unreal.
I know. Piano maestro extraordinaire, the most amazing dude ever, travel mate. We've done a lot of work together in the past. We've had some classic gigs together. Some that I will never forget. Some that are ingrained in my soul as some of the best gig stories ever.
I would say that ranks, that one in particular that I have in my head ranks pretty high.
I hear you. I don't know which one it is, but I could probably guess.
The one about cutting off genitalia, maybe.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, she did not come anywhere near my penis, but
no.
she got close to someone else's. Lord
Ding,
Jesus.
ding. And this is how we're starting our Monday morning.
Oh, it's shit's
praying.
about to get
we need
real.
I know.
Ladies,
we need to pray.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hopefully not too many boys and girls.
Right.
But we are going to talk about some real shit today. Stuff that's going to shake
your core.
Shake the core, rattle some chains.
Yeah. I like chains.
Fluff
Chains are good.
Your
fluff is good too.
pillows.
Yes, I agree. You know, you just slightly scared me because I was going to say you probably have more dirt on me than just about anybody now that I think about it.
Oddly enough, I feel like
in an odd way, yes.
All the secrets, they're locked away in a very small box, buried 6 feet underneath that body that we buried. Remember that one?
Yes,
2 years
under
ago?
the front of that. Yeah,
it's like I always say: if you ever need me, I've got a shovel, cement, and rope in my trunk at all times.
That's why I love you. You got my back. I feel you. Yeah, I think that body was somewhere underneath those bushes, outside of that. Is it the viola? What is it? What do you call it?
The veranda.
The veranda.
The lanai.
What did I say? Viola? Viola? I don't know.
You know what? Ours is called a viola.
Anyway, Austin Clark, so glad to have you up in my studio. I have to tell on you, though, because as soon as you came in, you went, I have no idea what LRS is. And I thought, well, that is really funny. And then I went ahead and educated you that LRS has been around since 1964, one of the premier rock and roll radio stations of all time here in Louisville.
And about half of the audience just clicked off.
No, we're gonna play some rock and roll today. We'll intervene. So what have you been doing? I was almost afraid you weren't even going to make it because you were just coming back from Naples, weren't you?
Yes, I just closed a run of the epic, iconic 1980s musical Les Miserables.
And how was Les Miserables?
It was exceedingly dramatic.
Was it? Did you have the rotating stage?
Well, you know the answer to that question. There isn't. That stage cannot accommodate a rotation.
I could see that, yeah.
It could barely accommodate the actors on stage. They have to sort of like sidestep to get around certain pieces.
Yeah. Remember, we practiced running off of that stage. Remember?
Yeah.
When I was sick.
No, I know. And we were all burnt to crisp from the Florida sun.
Yes.
And one person in particular probably had more bourbon in his system than blood.
Correct. Yes. Oh my. Oh
and
my.
mind you, audience.
Wow, I'm having flashbacks.
We were a Christian
rock band. I was in a Christian rock band with John Austin Clark. We were the praise team.
We need to have a moment for that, for everyone out there to let that sink in.
Yeah, I know, right? Wait, I don't have my sound effects today, and I really need them. That's true. Yes. Well, we started with Sweeney Todd, right? I was thinking, how did we meet exactly? Do you know?
It had to have been Sweeney Todd.
It was Sweeney Todd, I think.
And that was such a great show. We, the people who were involved, dear... May she rest in peace. Rachel was in there.
I know. And man, I had just played that with you all, yeah.
That was,
Wow. I was thinking, let's just say a little prayer to everybody we've lost lately, because you know that more than anybody. When I first met you, you were dealing with that. And then now here we are sitting together, me dealing with that very similar situation, losing two very important musicians that were in my life.
I mean, I don't want to be biased, but I feel particular hardship when we lose a musician.
I do
particularly
too.
Someone who's so close. And, we all have each other's backs and we're all here to support each other. And when we lose a musician, it just hurts because
it does.
What do we do? What our job is, if we don't know it by now, fellow musicians, our job is to make this world prettier than we left it. And we get that as musicians, as artists, we understand that.
Yeah.
And so when we lose one of those fellow comrades who's doing just that, it's extremely painful.
I agree. Like you said, it's just somebody who's touched so many people through playing music. You know what I mean? Because when we play, we might have 100 people or we might have thousands of people come to see us play. So therefore, they all think that they know you and you share this experience with them. For when you pass on, you've touched all these people that you probably didn't even know you touched, just emotionally touched, and they share that experience with you and vice versa. And that's just kind of how we share space in this world,
And for those of us who have the good fortune to still be here on this lovely planet we call Earth, all we can really do is just march forward and play for them.
Yeah.
And continue to do the great work that we are doing through the variety of genre that Louisville is home to. We have so many different awesome genres of music in the city.
Yeah, we sure do. When I was putting together the She Castle thing, I was thinking about there were people that were in cover bands that I got, and then there were people in original bands that I got. And those two scenes don't even clash, usually. They don't. Half of them didn't even know each other.
It's amazing to me. Like, hello, I walk into this studio, I'm like, what is this?
I know. What's LRS? It's amazing to me you can be in Louisville that long and not know what LRS is, but that's funny. Well, now you know. The more you know.
I have been schooled by the Yates.
Yes, you've seen that a few times.
Yes, I have. Yes.
Oh, man, I missed that beach. I will say that. That beach is super nice.
Super beautiful. I just recently, actually on Saturday, I experienced my first bout of toxic masculinity on that beach this trip. Now, it happens every trip, but it didn't happen until the very end.
Yeah.
I, ladies and gentlemen, don't wear much when it comes to the beach.
No, I can attest to that.
Yeah.
If anything.
Vitamin D is extremely important to humans. As we know here in Louisville, our winters can be really dark.
Yes.
For some odd reason.
For long time periods, too.
For this past winter, it was unbelievably dark. And so, I made it my second job down there to get my suntan. And my tan lines have to be absolutely perfect.
Flawless. Yeah, I could see that.
Because, I like for people to,
appreciate.
Paint by numbers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I could see that.
Just slap a big old 8 on my rear end.
Right, yeah.
Fill in number 8.
Yay.
Anyway, getting back into a more proper conversation about my tan lines. I
can tell you're not a nudist because, nudists don't have tan lines, just saying.
No. The tan line, I'm like, it's Austin in the tan lines. Yeah. I know Tony has them, but it's Austin in the tan lines, ladies and gentlemen.
Good.
So anyways, I'm walking on the beach, and I've got my, at this point in the day, I had my coffee. It hadn't turned, 9 in the morning yet. So
Speaking of which. No.
Yeah. So I'm walking on the beach.
I brought mine.
Of course. I was actually going to bring, what I was going to bring? I was going to bring a whole variety pack of that white bitch White Claw shit.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've seen that. There's like memes everywhere about it.
I decided to jump off the cliff and try it down in Florida. Yeah. And it was shockingly refreshing.
Shockingly refreshing.
Yeah.
What were those drinks back in the day that were like they come up but they were similar to those? Oh, they had different flavor. It was pre-Zima, I think.
Girl, you're dating me.
Yeah, I know. I was like, once I started saying that, I was like, maybe he's too young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm walking on the beach.
Canadian Dry, something like that.
In my banana hammock. I prefer to say eggplant elevator.
Oh, I like that.
But anyways, on the beach, and I hear like this gaggle of douchebaggery, sort of like descending, and I was luckily very close to the condominium, and was able to retreat. But I observed this awful human being, a father, making fun of his son because he wouldn't come out and play fucking douchebag football out in the goddamn
football.
Yes. And I was literally.
Wait, how many cuss words did you drop? Ding,
well,
ding,
it pissed
ding. Money
me
for
off.
charity. Money for charity. You can get pissed off here.
Fuck
Go
the police.
Go. You can literally say anything you want.
Well, it really pissed me off because I was sitting there going, I'm you right now. I'm seeing this young boy, like his head in his hands. His father's making fun of him for not being this person that his father wants him to be, this masculine archetype. And he's retreated with his mother underneath the umbrella, and she's like trying to like tell the father to cut the crap out. And I was like, gosh, what can I do? I can't do anything but go inside. And
didn't that make you want to have kids right there? Just saying.
Well, so that's never going to happen, because my sister just had triplets, and she has a 2-year-old, and my brother has one coming. And yes, congratulations are in order, because they're consumed by children. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I've said that, like, I think we should ring the bell every time I say ladies and gentlemen.
All right, ding, ladies and gentlemen.
I just feel like they're out there.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I hear you. Yeah.
My siblings have had so many kids.
You don't need to have kids.
Now have this mantle that I will be the gunkle who travels and comes back and brings trinkets and baubles and beads.
You're going to be the cool one, like I was.
I might start wearing muumuus. And just sort of like,
if you start wearing muumuus, I'm going to walk behind you with a video camera. Live stream.
Didn't we do like a muumuu fashion show down in Florida with my grandmother's muumuus?
I think.
Don't you remember the textured palm?
Yes, the textured palm. Yeah, that was super cool. And is your mom listening right now?
Probably not.
Okay, good.
But she definitely. Oh God.
Oh no, I was gonna say. You said what? I was gonna talk about the drum set. I snuck a drum set into.
Sweetheart, do you know what happened right after we were there?
What?
A big ass hurricane. So
that's right. Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
You sort of weigh your battles. Like, well, the scratch mark on the floor is probably
not as bad.
Not as bad as having a deluge in your living room.
Right, I hear you.
Right?
But remember, the mom was like, "There's a drum set there." She was freaking out about the drum set. Right?
I was like, "This is our therapy."
Yeah.
Do you know who we're living with?
Exactly. Yeah. I had a drum set shipped down to Florida just so I could play it.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
It was wild. That was so fun.
And we had
let's go back to real quick and stick with the music. I want to go back to Sweeney Todd, because that's how we met. And Sweeney Todd, like we said, it ranks up there with me personally as definitely my top 5 all-time musicals to do, because that score is just so cool.
It's one of those musicals that just is a page turner, and you're constantly like, oh, this is next, great. There's never like a moment you're like, God, I wish we'd cut this. It all is a seamless work.
Sondheim, right?
Oh yeah. It's one of his.
You can't go wrong with him.
Yeah, and of course the movie was terrible because it like chopped up the music and made it more Hollywood than anything. Yeah, and that's not. It's the same thing happened with the Les Mis movie. Same thing happened with Into the Woods movie. Like when you get the opportunity to see live theater in Louisville, we are so fortunate to have so many local theater groups. There's nothing like seeing live theater and hearing those live musicians create a platform to tell a story.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And we have some of the best musicians ever right here in this city. It's mind-blowing. Almost everybody here plays something.
It's a great city.
It really is. I really do love Louisville. Every time I try to leave, it just sucks me right back in.
Well, as it
should. And you've done the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, you leave not to go off and find something better. You leave so you can gain and value what you have.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what it is. If you don't leave, I'd say, you're not really you're not fully realizing the fortunes that we have here, because you don't really know what you have until you don't have it anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you can
don't
go
know what
to
you
those
yeah.
big cities. You can do all the resorts and all the pretty things. And what Louisville has is they don't have. It's this community that comes together, and we create awesome projects, and it's attainable here.
Yes. And you can make a living doing it here. Because it's affordable.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Just going to the grocery store down in Naples. I mean, obviously it's Naples, yes. And people have like $1 bajillion down there, but
I mean, is Under the Shady Palm still there?
No.
Oh, it's gone.
I'm mourned. I was literally at the end of my show on Saturday night. I was like, damn it, I wish the Shady Palm was open. Sorry.
Me too. You don't have to apologize.
I know. Well, it just really fucking sucks, goddammit. Because I just really wanted a cheap drink, and Bob always knew my drink.
Yeah. That was a venue down in Naples, Florida that we frequented quite often.
Under the Shady Palm.
Under the Shady Palm.
It was such a great little hole in the wall.
It definitely was a Shady Palm.
Some theme nights that were fun. And
what was the gay bar there that we went to?
Bambusa.
The Bambusa, that's right.
We tore that place up one night during this last trip.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
We decided
Bambusa.
to make our own dance thing happen. So
Okay.
we were
I've danced there a few times in my day.
yeah. It was fun.
Yeah. Oh, man. So let's talk a little bit about your music career, just so our listeners can, know a little bit more about you. How did you get your start in music?
Well, I started whoring myself out at a very early age. I learned the fine art of using my body to get money.
Okay. Sounds kinky.
You know what I did there? I just brought in the audience, and they're leaning closer to their speaker. And
they're
now,
like,
and now
what's
I'm
he gonna
about to
say?
tell you the tea.
Tell the tea.
The tea of my life. Well, I went to St. Francis in the Fields Episcopal Church. It's a nice, wholesome church out in the East End, right outside Prospect. Actually, they call it Herod's Creek. And in this fine establishment, I was able to have a wonderful choir experience. I also was an acolyte, and I led the youth group as in the youth group committee. And I went on mission trips. And then I came out, and the shit hit the fan.
I can already tell that. Yeah. What year did you come out? Or how old were you when you came out?
I came out the summer before my senior year in high school, so I would have just turned 18. And
I was about the same age myself.
I was actually at the Governor's School for the Arts. I was just surrounded by such love and such people who were doing great things. I just felt
compelled to tell it.
Well, I was just like, I'm a good person. I'm doing everything I know in my power to lead a great life, and I'm a nice person, and I'm a good student, and not that one should really have to go through this. Well, I deserve to be able to come out.
Right.
Everyone deserves that.
Right, but there's always that. I mean, people don't understand unless they've done it. You know what I mean?
Oh, and
it's tough. It's tough, and to be, man. Where I come from, it wasn't near as open as Louisville. Yeah. So I talked about this the other day with another guest. It was always something I had to hide. So therefore, when I got here and could be open, I was still freaking out. I was like, what am I supposed to do? Can I hold hands with somebody and walk down the street without getting beat up,
Well, I mean, that's still,
I
let's
know,
be
it's
honest.
Still right.
Just walking down Broadway. I mean, obviously, Broadway that just happens to be where we are. So that's
right.
Giving
We're
Broadway
at 16 East Broadway. That's right. Yeah, we're in the old Guild Theater building, or the Launch Louisville Studios, as we call it now.
I cannot wait to see this building. It looks unbelievable.
Yeah, I'll take you up after the show and show you the theater.
But anyways, if I were to walk down the street with my partner, I still have to check myself. I still have.
In what way? You mean?
Well, I don't feel like I could hold his hand because I would be constantly paranoid about what someone might do.
I know. I agree. Isn't that sad?
And ladies and gentlemen, that's bullshit.
Yeah, it is. It is. But is it something just personal with you? I feel the same way. I'm not gonna lie, but I wonder if everybody feels the same way.
Well, I think for the people who, do you know Gilda Wabbit, a Sam Tamer, unbelievable drag artist in town,
right?
The confidence that drag queens instill. Frankly, I think the drag queen story time is amazing.
Me too.
Because it shows these kids that you can just be yourself and be confident. Good confidence, not.
And by the way, if clowns can read to them and they can go visit Santa Claus,
that scares me more than anything.
Yeah,
frankly.
And the Tooth Fairy and all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? If that can be, what is the harm? Right. And by the way, I did put Derby City sister drag queen up in my bougie video.
Yes, I saw that. Very, very well.
By the way, you'll love this. Somebody the other day asked me if that was me and a mustache. They thought I was the drag queen, and then they didn't think that I was the femme girl. That made me laugh.
I will say that was probably the most shocking thing. You could have been, I don't know, slaughtering.
Oh, there's more coming. And
slaughtering a baby.
No, I would never go that far.
But
I don't want it morbid.
But you in a dress, I was like jaw to the floor.
Well, here's what's funny about that is literally I was saying, just brainstorming, going, what could I do in my solo career that would make jaws drop? Literally, that's what I asked myself.
Well,
and
you put some underwire on those girls, and Lord Jesus.
I know, right? Yeah. You got just a good bra and a corset, you're good to go.
I was blown away.
But what I was going to say is one of my gay guys said to me, you should play the femme character in your because I was going to play both. I had thought about playing both, and then I thought about getting a drag queen to play the other character, but basically following the storyline a little bit. So what was crazy about that is I was like, you know what? That would be interesting if I played the femme girl, because people don't see me femme very often.
Well, and it sort of harkens to those like early 90s rock femme girls who do like, like Poe or...
Oh, I love Poe.
Or...
I want to be a dolphin.
Like Hole. Like, I don't want to... Sorry to compare you to Hole, but...
No, that's fine.
But,
compare me to
like
whatever hole you want.
Oh, ring that bell, girl.
Yeah.
Ring it.
Cha-ching. Yeah. Hey, I wanted to also tell you, though, so I go home. I'm living with Sue Riley, who just passed, right? And I go...
Rest in peace.
May she rest in peace. She was an angel in my life, and so many others as well. But either way, I go, and I'm like, I wish I had a dress. I think I'm going to play my own femme character. And she goes, hang on, I got a dress. And I was like, you got a dress? And she goes in the back room, pulls out her wedding dress, and goes, try this on. And I tried it on, and it fit perfect. So I filmed the video in her wedding dress.
See, that is literal proof that we as musicians have each other's backs. Literally.
That was funny.
Yeah.
I didn't know what you were going to say. I thought you were going to say something very shocking. And I was like...
I mean, that's pretty cool, though, because
it's
like,
crazy, though. Is it weird that I'm in her old wedding dress in the video? She just passed, It's kind of weird to watch it back and be like, wow. That's where I got it. I think she would enjoy it, personally, because we laughed a lot when I put it on.
I guarantee you that gives her afterlife.
Yeah. It does.
That was a joke. Ring the damn bell.
Oh. I got it. I'm just 5 minutes behind as usual.
You got to, so, humor is our best friend.
It is.
If we're going to live on
live on creatively,
Well, in this climate of a goddamn country right now, you got to have some motherfucking humor.
I agree.
I hope the security card hears me. I'm cussing.
Which my boss is going to come back and be like, what's going on?
I'm cussing. God damn it. I can't stop it.
Well, I will say this. We're probably going to raise thousands today for charity because, every time we cuss, we put money in the tip jar. And then the
tip jar?
We have a swear jar here. And every time you say a cuss word, we put money in it. And then we donate it off to charity at the end of the month so that we can say we cuss for a good cause. How cool is that?
I like that slogan.
We're going to take a short break and we're going to come back and talk all things theater and Bourbon Broke and everything else that you've got on your plate right now. Have you ever heard of The Darkness?
Well, I've been there many times.
Me too. It's one of my favorite songs. It's The Darkness with I Believe in a Thing Called Love. You're locked on to LRS102.com, Jyneration Nation.
Can't explain.
It's Queen with Fat Bottom Girls. Austin, I thought you would enjoy that one. Queen.
Yes,
yeah.
Of course.
Who doesn't love Freddie Mercury? Hey, I do want to remind everybody that you can join LRS102.com at the Tiger Room. That's this Saturday, August 17th from 9 to 12 for the SWP CD release party for the Trans Am Jams. Not only will you get new music from LRS Fest artist SWP, but you'll also have a shot to win free Louder Than Life tickets and a chance to save $10 on special discounted LRS Fest tickets. Yeah. Do you know what the Tiger Room is?
I was just going to ask.
I had a feeling you were going to ask me that. I don't know why. I've got this clairvoyant thing going on. I asked the same question. The Tiger Room is Trixie's. Do you know where Trixie's is?
That is not my area of town, my dear.
Mine either. But I will say this. This is why they named it the Tiger Room. They bought the old toy tiger sign and put it on a separate entrance, evidently, at Trixie's. And now they've named the room the Tiger Room.
Now, that's cool.
And bands now play there.
I'd go.
I would go too.
No, wait a minute. Where is it exactly? I feel like that's...
We need to look it up. Is it 7th Street? Is it
Google.
7th? Or no? No.
Is it a stripper joint?
It is a strip club, yeah.
You'll see, no.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
You can join LRS there this
I'll
weekend.
never forget. Where was I? I was down at the PT's. Is that what they call it?
PT's, yeah. That's another great strip club.
I went down there once. And
I wouldn't know. No, I've been there a few times.
This woman served me a gin and tonic with absolutely no clothes on. And I'm like, I don't think I want this drink.
Oh, well, I would have.
I'm sure you would
I
have
would
just
have
gone.
loved that.
You and your deep sea diving.
Deep sea diving. I love that. I'm going to use that from now on. That's a great analogy.
Keep me far from the sea.
I done told you I'm a straight man trapped in a female body. That's
Keep
just
me on the
kinda how
bridge.
I roll.
I will not jump. I will stay on dry ground.
What were you doing at PTs? Can I ask that question? Because that does not seem like a place I would run into John Huston Clark.
Nope.
In town.
I was passing out business cards.
Oh.
For coaching.
Mm-hmm. Bourbon Baroque.
Exactly. If anyone wants to learn how to play the harpsichord, hit me up, girls.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. That's one of the most, the coolest things about you that I love so much is that you played you studied harpsichord specifically.
People ask me like why, and
it's such an interesting instrument to pick, is what I would think.
Well, I liken it to when you're studying language or when you're studying writing. If I were to go and like specifically study the classics, like Greek and study where the most ancient forms of our language, were created. That was kind of my desire, was to, so it's great I play the piano, but so does everyone's grandma.
Right.
No offense, pianists. I'm a pianist too. Don't get your panties in a bundle.
If you wear them.
But so I just thought, wouldn't it be neat? I have a liking to Baroque music in general. So I thought, why not learn this kooky instrument and
explain to our listeners that have no idea what a harpsichord is. What is a harpsichord for the listeners out there?
Okay, a harpsichord first and foremost is not a piano, and it's not a harp.
Okay.
But these are the simple things you have to say in the very beginning.
Yeah, this is why I hate the English language.
Yes, exactly.
It's exactly not what it says it's supposed to be.
Exactly. But what it is it's a keyboard instrument that preceded what we know as the modern day pianoforte. Mm-hmm. Before the pianoforte, there was an instrument that Mozart played on, which is called the forte piano. Okay. But in Mozart's early days, he would have studied on the harpsichord. And the harpsichord is an instrument that has keyboard like a piano does. Okay. And they are different in their likeness based on where they were built. So you're thinking West Europe. So you've got harpsichords that are French, German, Flemish, Italian.
Were you around a harpsichord growing up? Was there one in the house?
Okay, if you really want to know the tea why I studied the harpsichord, I'll tell you exactly the tea.
There was a hot guy teacher.
I am not touching that one with a 10-foot pole. Or any size pole for that matter.
Okay.
Anyway, so I had the great fortune of getting into Oberlin College for my undergrad. Okay. But I did not get in as a voice major. Okay. I wanted to sing more than anything. I had a song in my heart, girl.
Did you really? I did not know that about you.
I wanted to study voice, but what I know now that I didn't know then was that I didn't really want to study opera. I wanted to do musical theater, and Oberlin is not a musical theater school. It's an opera school.
Okay, interesting.
So I was barking up the wrong tree in the vocal sense. But I was bound and determined to go to Oberlin because I loved, similarly to Louisville, I love Louisville. Sometimes there are things I want to fucking rip my hair out about this city. But
I feel you.
But I feel at home here, and I felt so at home at Oberlin. I was like, this is where I need to go. So it was kind of like, a square peg in a round hole type thing. I was like, how can I force myself into this place? So what I did is I knocked on, and I didn't want to study piano.
Right.
The competition, it would have been very competitive, and I just didn't feel like I had much to give in that genre. So I knocked on the harpsichord professor's door, and I started taking lessons with her, which was unusual. Usually someone like me would have gotten thrown with a graduate assistant, but I was able to study with her for some reason. And within a couple months, I had some, liquid courage maybe before a lesson or something. And I asked her, I was like, so do you think it's a crazy idea that I'm, major in harpsichord? Because you can at Oberlin.
Yeah.
And she said, I don't think it's a crazy idea at all. And bam,
Mm-hmm.
that's how I got into the conservatory, and one thing led to another, and I stuck with it. And at the end of my 4 years at Oberlin, I was able to lead choral ensembles from the harpsichord, which is what I do now with my ensemble Bourbon Baroque, which is in its 13th year.
Yeah, let's talk about Bourbon Baroque,
Let's.
because that's a super cool project.
It is. It was, speaking of our sort of sad topic that we started off with earlier.
Death.
Yeah, I met one of my, in life we have soulmates, and I definitely met one up in Montreal at McGill for my master's, and that was Nicola Fortin, Nico,
right,
lovingly known by
Rest
many
in
here.
peace, Nico.
Yes, and at McGill, I met him, and we were in a relationship. And I convinced him, you need to move to Louisville, and we're going to start an ensemble. And we moved back here in summer 2007, and he started teaching French at IUS. And I actually started working at Fund for the Arts. I was a portfolio manager. And speaking of tea, I'm just going to put it right out there. I hated it. It sucked. Yeah. It was not my thing. I learned a lot, but it was not a healthy environment for a variety of reasons. And in that same area, we also started Bourbon Baroque, and so I gained a lot of perspective there by appreciating, I need to be doing this. This is my calling. I need to be putting my creativity forward and first. And I've always, part of a good conversation with me would be with someone maybe just leaving school, because I feel like my path in music has been unusual, which is everyone's story, I think.
Yes,
but we so often we look back on our 20s and we're like, God, I remember not knowing what the hell I was going to do, or what I was supposed to do. And I had no idea. Like, I wanted someone to just drop a job in my lap. Yeah. And that's not what was ever going to happen. And it's an
unrealistic point of view.
No one tells you anything about that, though. You just sort of get trained, and then you get thrown out in this wacky world. Yeah, and it's not something I'm completely cured from. I think I'm still struggling with that. Yeah, but
I struggle with it too. I think any artist does, really, because we have to have some sort of outlet to get our creativity out. Obviously, it can't stay in. I mean, I feel like we go crazy if it stays in,
There have been many times that's happened.
Yeah, but at the same time, we're also forced to work these mundane 9 to 5 sometimes just to be able to financially make it. Yeah. And as professional musicians, we have to find ways to really hustle. I mean, I've talked about this a lot. You've got to be a hustler if you're going to try to make it in music.
And it's also getting to the point mentally in your head about work that you thought that was beneath you.
Right.
If you change your perspective on that, and you appreciate the opportunity to create your work and to communicate with humanity through your music, then all of a sudden the things that you thought you were that were beneath you or that you were above, really become your bread and butter, and it's what creates a happy lifestyle. We are constantly running around working nonstop, but we really, if you just take a step back, we wouldn't have it any other way. It's when we're not doing things and we don't have the opportunity to be creative that things get ugly.
I agree. And to me, and I know you use music probably for different reasons, but for me, I use it as my mental therapy, my therapy. I use it to get closure for things that I can't get closure from in my everyday life. I use it to say things that I probably wouldn't say on a daily to someone, or if I get frustrated, I use it to get as an outlet, basically, for my own therapy.
And I'm not trying to say that we're above meditation or anything. I think everyone needs to be in a meditative state at some point, either in their day would be great, but weekly or, any sort of whatever you can do. I will say, however, that I feel because we are in tune with our hearts and because we are in tune with our creative side and our feelings and our emotions, we have that state more often than the average Joe who's not necessarily doing what they love or working only for the man or working only for that paycheck or only working for the gravy train at the end of their life. Right. Why not live your gravy train, people?
Right. Why not travel? Do your thing. Yeah.
Travel and meet people and meet different types of people so that you can gain perspective on what you have and also what you don't have and be appreciative of all the different people that roam this world.
Yeah. exactly. And we're all still trying to figure it out together. I feel like, you know what I mean?
And if you approach people like they're just doing their best, everyone's just trying to do their best, then you have an appreciation for the struggles that everyone has. And then there wouldn't be so much hatred and crap being thrown around. If you just realize that everyone's just trying to do their best, then, you know, it would be, I think the world would be a more peaceful place. And honestly, I think through music, we have a job.
Yeah, we definitely have a job. You know, I realized at age 30 that my time was more important than money to me. I was making great money, and I just pretty much gave all that up to do something I loved because I wanted that free time. You know what I mean? And the universe just kind of forced me to do that, and that's what I did, you know. And then look where we are now. I'm back in radio where I started at age 16.
Well, there was a reason why you did it at age 16, because it spoke to you. And, you know, as much, sometimes, actually, my degree from Oberlin is in music education.
Yeah.
And as an artist and as a teaching artist, it's interesting because, you know, educators can sometimes get the derogatory sort of connotation of being not a performer, not someone who can actually do the craft.
Right, I could see that.
So they're condemned to the classroom where they teach.
So therefore they're a teacher and not a performer, or like you look at it in a different way.
Yeah, and honestly, that's bullshit.
Well, of course.
Like complete bullshit, because it takes...
I don't know, is bullshit a word? I'm bad word.
Well, when we're talking about this, you know, whatever, it's... The fact of the matter is that you need the artists who are actively engaged in their profession to be in those classrooms, to work with kids. Because if they're only working with educators who are so detached from the craft, then they're not getting the best education. And frankly, I think that's partially why our public school system is not doing very well. We need to incorporate more people who are engaged in their craft into the classrooms.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why they're not, and because the system is failing. They don't want to be anywhere near it.
Yeah.
Why would they? Look at what's going on.
I mean, would you? I wouldn't.
You know, but people, you know,
and we educate, but we're private educators, which I think is where it's at. You know,
and it's not everyone has it takes, well, first of all, not everyone has the opportunity to do that.
Correct.
But what I will also say to that is that it takes a lot of work to get to that point, to be able to start your own life, to teach, and to create your own clientele.
Exactly.
And it is not pretty. It is very ugly. But once you finally get there, then there's nothing but gratitude, because you're living your best life.
I agree. I totally agree with that. And people can make fun all they want for me doing what I do, being a private, teacher.
We have a secret, and the fact of the matter is that it's because we're connected and attached to our inner selves.
That's exactly
and
right.
You can have someone zooming off in their friggin' like luxury car. They're so
buying $300,000 houses.
I mean, they're so far away from themselves.
$500,000 houses. Yeah.
Now,
well,
don't get me wrong. I wouldn't mind some of that.
Well, of course not. Who wouldn't? You know,
money.
What I mean?
If you pardon the expression.
But money's not everything. Money changes everything.
Manure. It only helps when you spread it around, encouraging young things to grow.
I love that.
I stole that.
You did.
Obviously.
Darn.
That's
I thought you came up with
Dolly Levi's monologue from the iconic musical Hello, Dolly.
Yeah. Very cool.
Now spread that shit.
Spread that shit.
It.
Don't be
spread
bougie,
like
girl.
Butter.
Don't be bougie.
Like butter.
Don't be hanging on to it. Yes, you're right, though. I mean, when you look at it, you have to spread. I think that goes for almost anything. True.
I think in life in general, just spread them as much and as often as possible.
I mean, I'm down with that theory.
It's sometimes I lose. I get a little vertigo when I find my feet on the floor.
Yeah,
it's not often.
Yeah. So real quick, back to Bourbon Baroque, because I've got questions for you about your business.
Yes.
I think it's fascinating. What made you, so you started that business, right? And then the idea behind it was, because I know it's your baby and that's your passion project, right?
Yeah.
How many years, first off, has it been running?
Well, we're going into our 13th season.
That's what I thought. A long time. 13 years is a long time. I mean, that's a full chapter right there, man.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, we've had years where we've produced operas. We've had years where we have collaborated with special guest artists, and we've had some seasons that have been very small and light. But I believe the secret to our success is our ability to grow and be big when we're big, and to also be okay being small when we're small.
Right.
Our overhead is very low, and we have a lot of pressure around in the previously established arts groups to be bigger than
I could
we
see
can
that.
handle, because those bigger groups get all the money, they get all the platform, they get all the stage presence, and it's hard to compete with that.
Yeah.
But I strongly believe in our business model and how we keep things small in order to do our best work. Now, the one thing that's difficult with Bourbon Baroque is that we play, first of all, our personnel, our artistic personnel are all people who have been trained in the Baroque style on period instruments. So it's not as if someone who's just playing a modern violin can just throw a period Baroque violin in their hands and then all of a sudden they're someone who can play with Bourbon Baroque. No, the
Interesting.
part of the thing about it is that we get the very best. And, love Louisville, but sometimes you got to go out the city to bring in the best talent. If you list the arts organizations that are really bringing transformative art to this city, they are, yes, utilizing local people, but they're also bringing in outside talent so that we can, keep the soup
Spread it around. Spread it around. Yeah, exactly.
You don't want that little filmy thing to start forming on the top of your soup. You gotta stir it.
Stir it.
Stir
the pot.
Shake it.
Stir the pot.
What time is it? I need a martini.
2:50.
Oh, damn it.
It's not too early for you to have a martini.
Well, yeah. Truth be told.
I think I've seen you drink earlier.
Well, sometimes.
I've seen you wake up and start drinking. Those are the best days, aren't they, when you don't have nothing to do?
Lies. You lie. You little
After your
slut.
run. After your run.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
There's no way in hell I'd be able to run. Well, actually, I've done that before. But hungover runs, oh, Lord.
I
People
bet.
think I'm crazy when I do it, but, honey, there is no better way to get that shit out of your system.
I'm playing with this Army guy,
Sweat it
or he's a
out.
retired military man.
I didn't realize you liked men.
Yeah,
Oh, just like
of
you're
course
playing
I
it.
love it. And playing music with him, yeah.
Oh, you're just playing with this ding-a-ling.
No. I think you know better than that. I was out before Ellen. That's what I love. That's my line, and it's true story.
There's a wonderful picture of RuPaul in a suit and Ellen in a dress.
Ooh.
And it's a great picture because it's like you in a dress.
Yeah.
It's just like
Gender bender, I call it.
It's just like, oh my gosh, this is so weird because we don't see her in a dress ever. She's in this big, like, shoulder padded, like, big old 80s dress. It's hilarious.
Yeah, well, I've got a solo record coming out called Herstory, and it's got even weirder stuff on it. Bougie's on there, so is The Gift of Gold, y'all, and
Okay.
Talk is Cheap. It's basically like me being the Eminem and ripping everybody a new one. Just saying what I think. I'm playing a character, though, really.
Are you really?
Yeah, but I keep trying to go, okay, what? I know, are you really? Maybe not.
not.
That's what's so fun about art. I talk about this often, and I'd love to get your opinion on it. We can put Earl in the trunk and drive him into the river in a song. Guns N' Roses wrote a song, I Used to Love Her, But I Had to Kill Her, where they talk about killing off the girlfriend and burying her in the backyard. Could you imagine if Bob Marley wrote I Shot the Sheriff Today? That's what makes art so fascinating, because we can do things in our art that are not accepted on a normal, everyday level in the physical realm.
Just got to put that bass in your walk and you can say pretty much anything.
I know, and that's why I love music. I'm like, once I realized that, and do you see that we have the voice as an instrument hung on the wall over here?
Oh, I love
That's what
that.
it says, yeah. And it is true, because I never really figured out how to use my voice until just as of recent. So I'm really starting to just be like, I just wanted to say this or say that, or crazy thing can I write next that'll make jaws drop,
Well, I mean, you're just being your true self.
Yeah,
And what would,
just being an artist, man.
we talk about the dress, and honestly, it's a great visual for the bigger issue, which is
I was like, maybe I'll just go nude on the next one or
there you
something
go.
crazy.
There you go.
Just go all out there.
All out.
Yeah. I actually have this new video coming out that's going to be me making out with a bowling ball.
I think that's great. You've got 3 holes to choose from.
I know, right?
It's like do, re, mi.
I agree. It's fantastic. Yeah. Anyway, a la Miley Cyrus Wrecking Ball with her sledgehammer.
Oh, I'm sure she's licking it.
Oh, she did it on video. Yeah. Oh, poor Miley. I do love her, though. Did you see she just announced her little breakup from her boyfriend?
Who is she dating?
I can't keep up with these people.
I
in here today.
can't imagine.
I can't
that
even
it's
keep up
easy
with
to date her.
marriages around here and nothing else.
No, I know.
I know. I'm like, have you ever? you're gay, obviously, and so am I. And I've faced a lot of discrimination in my day. But the one that tops the cake, and this is what reminded me of it, tops the cake, bad talk, is that there would be a straight person standing next to me that had been married literally 5 times, telling me that they didn't think that I should have the right to be married. Have you ever had that happen?
Well, I just think, the institution of marriage is so ridiculous.
I agree.
And it's to each his own. People,
I think a lot of people don't separate that, like, commitment is one thing, legality for tax reasons and all this other stuff. It's all very broad and crazy to me.
I mean, there are certain things that I think are silly about the whole situation. Like if my partner were to get deathly ill and I would not be able to have some sort of say in the matter, I'd have to be married in order for things for me to have any say.
Right. Like you can't be soulmates without having a piece of paper from the government. You know what I mean?
That doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to me either.
It has nothing to do with
And if you look at our
government.
divorce rate, there are more people getting married 2 or 3 or 4 times than, what's the point?
See,
I don't understand.
Harkens back to, I always sort of take a step back and pull, zoom out.
Yeah.
Like the bigger issue here is if people would just focus on themselves and put themselves first, then the greater good and the bigger partnership that you can ever create between you and another person will be far more secure.
I agree.
And superior than just following suit with what has happened before, like the institution of marriage, and just doing it because it's happened and that's the only route that we can do.
Well, if you go back to, though, and you look at the history of marriage and why marriage actually was created, it was for ownership of the female. It was for ownership of the female, and they go, okay, now you're married, you can have this plot of land. You're now part of our family. You do this. It's very strange. And then when you go back and you see that mainly taxes come in, like love never had anything to do with marriage ever. If you look at the history of it,
Tina Turner knew what she was talking about.
It was all about money.
Yeah,
or land, or whatever. Yeah, Tina Turner sure did. She still knows what she's talking about.
And isn't it funny how the way these things, the history of how certain societal things were established and how they've become mores in our society, and how we turn a blind eye to it. We just turn away to it because clearly it doesn't make sense, but we're just going to ignore that fact and just salad bar what we want.
Yeah.
Just be authentic. Make choices that make sense for you, and I will respect that.
Totally.
Don't blindly go and follow some dumbass tradition. Don't blindly follow some dumbass politician.
Have some sort of independency. There's nothing that turns me off more about a female than a super codependent female. Like, there's nothing that's attractive to me about that.
It's sad.
I don't enjoy codependency. Like, to me, I look at it more of an independent thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it obviously
and
takes...
I would commit to someone, but I don't know that I need to go get a ring and do all this showy crap. I don't know. It's as weird as it sounds. I could be on any stage in the country and be totally at peace, but if I had to stand up in front of people and do that, it seems very, very odd. I think I would be completely out of my comfort zone.
I think so too. I think maybe we have like this in common.
We do.
I just feel that there are certain things that just, you have a gut. You have like a feeling about certain things, and if it makes you feel icky, there's something going on with it.
Yeah. That goes back to don't ignore the red flags right away. Don't ignore the red flags. If you have a gut instinct. Well, right, because a lot of us just turn a blind eye, But my therapist always says this, and I think it's true. If it starts dirty, it's going to continually be dirty, and it'll end dirty as well. It usually ends how it starts. If it starts cheating, or if it starts with whatever it is, communication issues, sex problems, they're like major things that you've got to look for, right? Communication, if that goes down, it's over. Sex goes down, it's pretty much over. Trust issues go down, it's pretty much over. If you go back and analyze your relationships, paying attention to that, it's fascinating how it works, because it almost always does exactly what she said.
I'm in a really, really good place right now.
Me too.
I was just speaking with someone about how great I feel about being back home in Louisville, and how I've met this wonderful man who doesn't live here. He lives in Pasadena. Oddly enough, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say it right here and right now.
Do it.
I have never felt more connected through communication, through language, through emotion with this person than with someone who would be sitting next to me.
Yeah.
And
wow, that's awesome for you to say. And I know you a long time, so that's amazing.
I just am in a very, very good place right now.
Good for you.
And I want that for everyone. I want everyone to be able to communicate to that level with someone, frankly, in any relationship. I think those are the most important things we can do, is to deeply connect with people.
I agree. Yeah. Well, I wish you all the best of luck with that. I think it's fantastic. There was a moment where I almost moved away to Nashville. I have all these opportunities coming out. But, and by the way, I just did, there's a documentary film on women drummers coming out in September. We're going to premiere it in Nashville, but it opens worldwide in theaters right around my birthday. So I'm going to go down to Nashville and be a part of that. And you'll love it. A lot of very famous drummers in that film. So it's one of the first of its kind. It's kind of interesting. Anyway.
You know what I like? Female drummers obviously are on the top of my list.
Awesome.
But right below them are female bass players.
Oh, I love me a female bass player.
I remember going to the Indigo Girls in high school, and I was just like,
I could see you at an Indigo Girl show.
Girl, let's make peace tonight. Closer and if I honey.
Yeah.
Anyways, so there was
it almost sounded like Winona there toward the end.
I usually turn everyone into Cher. It's part of my craft.
Yes.
Frankly, if I could please put a plug into Cher's manager, if Cher had any sense, Cher, I'm talking to you right now. I hope you're listening. You need to do an Elvis cover album.
Yes, she does.
That's all you need to do. Don't do this.
I've seen pictures of her dressed up as Elvis before.
Yeah. She's got her voice now is morphed into Elvis. And so now it's time. The time is now. The king does not live anymore, but he can through your voice. Call 1-800-SHARE does Elvis.
Cher does Elvis. Hashtag Cher does Elvis. We should get that rocking, man. We should get that kicked off. That hashtag.
Oh, I have to say something. I have a listener out there. I had no idea. I got this random text from one of my close friends, Chad Sloan.
Hi, Chad Sloan.
Who is a fucking phenomenal, unbelievably talented director, head of the voice department at U of L. That fucking unbelievable department. They do such great work there.
Were you at U of L?
No. Being a resident of Louisville, I have definitely.
I was going to ask you that because you do a lot of work with them.
Yeah, I've had some great opportunities that the School of Music has provided just by way of growing up here, and I've worked accompanying some of my friends who are workers, who are professors at U of L. Emily Albrink being one of them, and
I just got to play something for U of L to Sold Out Palace. And it was all Spice Girls music.
Girl, I know exactly what you. This was the sorority.
Freiburg.
Yeah.
No. Hang on. Never in a million years did I think I would have this gig. Goes down to tops. Yeah. The Freiburg. How do you say it? We don't know.
It's this competition between
sororities and fraternities, and I'm on stage with like 60 sorority girls, and they send me the music. First off, they asked me if I would do it for U of L. Well, I thought, sure, I'll do anything with U of L. And then they send over the music, which was a Spice Girls medley, and I was like, this has to be a mistake.
Chad Sloan had everything to do with that.
Yeah,
they go to him for repertoire help, and he definitely probably. I'm guessing.
Well, they got second. We got second, but anyway,
he knows what he's doing.
It was nerve-wracking, man. I was like, what the heck? I was so excited to get to play the Palace because I'd never played there before, and I'm behind the curtain and I hear all this chatter, and they opens that thing up, and I mean, there was not a seat left in the house, and it was rowdy. And it was just me and a piano, so I was very exposed. It was an interesting gig. Thank you, Chad, for that. If he had anything.
And do you know who else is listening? Is Boy Wonder over in Pasadena. Pasadena
oh,
Prince.
Hi, boy. Hi, Pasadena
Hi,
Prince.
Darren.
Isn't it cool that we stream live? See, people can tune in anywhere in the world.
I've never experienced this.
Yeah,
I'm happy that
I had somebody get a hold of me the other day and say they were in Holland listening, and I've had Ireland and Japan. That's kind of cool.
That is neat.
Yeah.
You all need to have one of those maps where, like,
I know.
you get the hits
Right.
or whatever.
Yeah, and this studio is pretty cool. I love the step and repeat. Love the signy, the thing.
I can't wait to sign my name on this and say I've been here and we've had sex on this little on this futon here or whatever it is.
Hey, can we just talk about the pool noodles for a second? Austin, this also goes down
That is
in
the
history.
only time I would have ever considered doing hardcore drugs is during that all-nighter we pulled with those pool noodles.
Oh, gosh.
Do you
yes,
remember?
it took
I literally
all night, yes.
strapped you all to the chairs with
You
a gun to your
did.
head, said, you will make
pool
derby
nood-
horses out of
derby
these pool
horse-
noodles,
right,
or I'm
derby
kicking you
horses.
out.
Right. This is a true story. It's the first time I've ever done anything like this. And we were down at Naples, Florida during Derby one year, and Austin had this great idea.
Sorry.
That we're going to run.
Hold on. This ranks up to that idea that when I got a real Christmas tree and forced my friends to string cranberries and popcorn.
Cranberries?
Popcorn is a Victorian thing.
Wouldn't they mold?
At a certain point, you couldn't tell whether it was cranberry juice or blood.
I love
Anyway,
it.
so what ranks
Yes.
second to that, maybe first,
Yeah.
would be then this pool noodle story.
Yeah, so he's like, we're going to run this Kentucky Derby on the ocean, on the beach, with just random people. Because I was like, who's going to run this? We didn't know who was going to
That
run.
was part of the thing that I didn't have.
We didn't know who would jockey, basically.
Yeah.
Well, except, yeah. There
Yeah.
was a lot of jockeying going on that whole trip.
Lord, that was it.
So anyway, back to the story. He straps us down to this chair and like basically makes us like weave the hair of the horses, cut the heads of the horses.
There had
out.
to be a horseman,
There had
or
to
else
be
you couldn't
20
tell
of
what the
them.
hell it was.
Right. So we got pool noodles, and then we had the horse heads, and then we made the hair and the eyes, and we bedazzled them and all kinds of things, sparkled them, and glitter and rainbows and all that good
And we
stuff.
had the horse, and we made horses. out
Yes,
of them.
and do you remember the day that we were going to run it? We were literally so we're there again. We were in a Christian rock band. We were the praise band, right? And which we appropriately nicknamed the Heathens, if you'll remember.
Oh yeah, well,
that was the name of our band.
that's pretty accurate to probably every church choir in every church.
Yeah, that I've ever. Yes, exactly.
You know?
So then we go out. We're having a party at the condo, and we look out on the beach, and we're about to go run because the Derby runs at a certain time, and we had to run it the day after, if you remember.
Yeah,
So we
because-
actually run it
just
on
based
Sunday,
on our,
I think.
our schedule.
Our work schedules. But either way, there was a baptismal.
Oh, I
going
know
down in
exactly
the
what it was.
ocean.
We had a yes, there was. We had a double header on Derby Day. We had a matinee
that's
and
right.
an evening.
That's
And then
right.
Sunday we had off.
Right.
So we had our Derby party on Sunday, and there was a baptism going on.
Yeah, so we go out there to run the Derby, and we have to postpone the Derby because there's a baptismal going on in the ocean. But what was even more funny is that you ended up recruiting everybody that was getting baptized and the whole family
Here
to
I
run
am.
in the Kentucky Derby noodle. So they were our jockeys.
Running, and I ran over in my Speedo with these horse noodles.
Yes.
Saying, "Hi, you might think that's odd right now, but I need you to ride
During your baptismal.
these noodles
Right.
across, and we're going to, and we have a friend.
And
she's-
remember? Yeah.
you're going to play.
I brought my drum set out and I played Wipeout on the
Wipeout.
beach while they ran it.
while they ran
And
it,
we live streamed it.
and all was right with the world.
And it's on my YouTube if you want to check that out.
I scared a few kids in the process.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're known for that.
Well, if I like to influence the youth.
I hear
It's
you.
like what Glynis John said in Mary Poppins. We have to mold our young breed.
Yes, we do. By the way, I hate these pasta straws. Although I do love the environment. But have you had a pasta straw yet?
That looks foul.
Yeah, it's a straw made of pasta so that you can
What
help.
the fuck
so
are you
can help-
drinking?
It's coffee.
What is that?
It's coffee.
With
It's
the
a-
pasta?
Well, yeah. If you go to
Speaking
Highland
of
Coffee,
noodles.
if you go to Highland Coffee, they give you pasta straws or paper straws instead of the actual plastic straws. It helps with the environment. And
I
the
like that.
The pasta straws are the best because they they stay firm for a while.
I don't like paper
But if
straws.
paper straws, I feel
They
like
go limp.
Yeah, they go limp too. These do too. The pastas does, because obviously it expands once it gets cold and stuff. But probably for like 30 minutes to an hour, they'll stay up. Like I know what I'm talking about. We're going to take a break on that.
We need to.
I think we should, right? Oh, man. I've got some AC/DC queued up. You probably don't even know who they are, do you? It's right up your alley, Austin. It's Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap.
Austin Clark.
Yeah. You're locked on to LRS102.com, Jyneration Nation. Sandy Lennox and the Eurythmics with Sweet Dreams are made of these. You're locked on to Jyneration Nation, LRS102.com, The Walrus, broadcasting live from the Launch Louisville studios. We are Louisville's rock stream. Did you know that? Now you know what we are, who we are.
I have been
Austin
schooled.
Clark.
I know where I am now, and I appreciate it so much.
Welcome to LRS. I had to explain, yeah. So back in the day, we've got all these old albums. So back in the day, LRS used to put out these homemade albums and records on vinyl, and they would get local artists to be on those, and they would press one every year. And so everywhere I go, if people, are it's like, oh, you work for LRS or whatever, then I say yes, and they always tell me, hey, I have this vinyl of, LRS 102 and all this cool stuff. So it's pretty awesome. I think they're going to bring that back.
Well, that reminds me of, I believe his name is John King, I believe, who did the project, the Louisville, is it Louisville's for Lovers?
Yes, I love that project.
And he would do in a similar way, local artists and put them on a vinyl.
Would write a song, yeah.
Or something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a super cool project. Or maybe he would choose songs that they had put out or something like that. Yeah. So I think we're going to bring that back. And, of course, I was just telling you they were about to do some shows down here. And, of course, we have LRS Fest coming up in October, and we've got a whole lineup for that. That's pretty cool. And, of course, you can catch us out at Bourbon and Beyond, Louder Than Life, all that groovy-doovy stuff, broadcasting
the fall
live.
in Louisville with Bourbon. Cool evenings.
Hey, by the way, I was going to tell you, LRS Fest this year has the Atherton Band. That's the band from Atherton High School. And then also School of Rock Kids are going to be on it, which is really cool. And then it just keeps going all night. And then Nonpoint, which is a big old rock band, they're going to be headlining. So it's coming up.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So now you're educated.
I am. I appreciate that.
Yes, I love having you up in the studio today because it's just so fascinating. I forget until I see your face how many hilarious moments we've had together.
Well, life is full of them, and it's fun to be with someone along for the ride.
No kidding. And we were just talking about, it's off record, all the losses that we've had lately and how that does make you appreciate people a lot more. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And man, it's just been crazy. Have you been writing any stuff lately musically?
I haven't really gotten into that. I really haven't. But I know that it will happen.
Yeah.
Because I just feel that, I used to strongly believe, why would I want to put anything I have to say down to music?
Right.
I feel like it's all already been said.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm starting, this is a great segue, actually. I'm doing a cabaret this Thursday.
Cool.
And it was my good friend Jim Voiles of whom I'm doing this cabaret for his charity that he is leading the capital campaign for. It's his Youth Build Louisville. And I'm very excited about it. I was trying to find the right headlining talent that I would accompany in this concert that would raise money for this organization. And it took Jim actually telling me, you don't have to do that. You are the show. Make yourself the show, and people will come. And
I love that.
And I was like, you know what? Fuck yeah. Motherfucker. Yes, I am enough.
Yes, you are. I agree with that.
And
you're fantastic.
Well, the thing is that I'm looking forward to telling my story through the music that I love. And Louisville, this is your invitation, your direct invitation to my first ever cabaret led by C'est Moi
I love that.
With some of my closest music friends, vocalists. The theme of this cabaret is called The Baroque and Broadway.
Oh,
because I have two. My head is bifurcated basically in two halves. I have a Baroque love, and I have my love for Broadway and musical theater.
Of course.
And I find such musical similarities in these two genres. They influence each other very much.
Absolutely.
I mean, you often find musicals that will harken back to the Baroque by way of using the harpsichord as as some sort of nod to antiquity or bougie, aristocratic nature.
I'm gonna ding it every time we say bougie too.
I
This
love
is
that
funny. Me too.
Well, obviously. But
by the way, if you go to YouTube now and write in bougie, my name pops up right beside of it.
I mean, I can think of
It's
no
been searched that many
other
times.
image when I think of bougie.
No,
darling,
you shouldn't think of me.
I think of you. It's
But
true.
I'm so not bougie is the funniest thing.
Think of you fondly, steering it back to me.
Yeah.
Broadway. Anyways,
Yeah.
so yes, there's a cabaret on Thursday, and it's going to involve Baroque music. I'm going to bring the haul the harpsichord down, and I'm going to have friends join me in the music from the Baroque and also from Broadway. And you will see that we're doing some things to each of the genre that highlights their similarities and how they influence each other.
Wow, that sounds so fun.
It's going to be fun. It's just
Where is this again? Tell everybody.
Let me tell you all the deets. We've got a wonderful cabaret this Thursday, August 15th from 7 to 9 at Marketplace Restaurant, which is a restaurant right behind the Brown Theater, behind the alley. If you're coming from the Highlands, you take a right on 4th Street, and it's basically the establishment right after the alley. And it is a wonderful venue that it's owned by George Stinson and Ed Lewis of Connection fame.
Cool.
And also C2 and the wonderful asset to the area, Vapor Spa. It's where you can go and bathe with other men.
Fantastic. That's here in Louisville.
I have never been.
Remind me not to go.
I don't think you'd be allowed in.
No,
honey.
probably not.
But I've never.
Although they do let me roll VIP. The gay guys usually let me roll VIP.
Honey, you're
here.
Bathhouse Betty. You can go anywhere you want, girl.
I got my VIP gay card.
There you
know
go.
what I mean?
Yeah. But anyway, so there won't be any of that lewdness going on at this cabaret. I might do a little nod and a wink there, but it'll be rated G. It says family fun.
Family fun rated
Great songs from the Baroque and Broadway. And I will say, you're not going to want to miss my opening act.
Oh, okay. Who's the opening act?
Well, it's me.
Oh.
But
that was great.
But it's what I do that you're not going to want to miss. And I'm going to go all out. I just think I've seen my friends and I've seen the students I work with, and I see the glimmer in their eye when Austin goes there. And I'm going to go there at the opening of my cabaret, and then we'll continue on with all the guest talent. But this, in all seriousness, is for a great cause. It's for Youth Build Louisville, which is an organization that really brings together the youth that need that kind of leadership and support in our community to give them an opportunity to really succeed. And I think, it's really in our youth. We need to put our money where our youth is.
Yeah.
I think we need to create atmospheres where the young men of our society are with people who are emotionally connected from their head to their heart, so that we can raise compassionate young men who will go on in their lives and treat other people, women and men and youth and elderly and all sorts of different types of people with respect and gratitude. And I think that's missing in our society, and I think that's why we are currently where we are with our current administration.
Yeah.
And I can get
It's
political.
horrible.
Maybe I've lost half of you to that statement. But the fact of the matter is
That's
that we
horrible.
could all do better with this.
Yeah, slightly.
And I'm not saying that I'm
I think
perfect.
a rock could do better at this point. You know what I mean?
Who?
A rock. A physical rock.
Rocks in my bed, girl.
Yeah.
Whenever you're not there, just rocks in my bed.
I still try to just tune that all out. I really do. Not to get political, because I don't like to talk politics at all. We want to keep it about the music, but
Girl, well, you know how we're going to keep it about the music is by being the best person you can be through your music. And that's how you make it political. And you're making it political through the good that you do through your music. And that's all you need to do. One little comment on that.
What if we write diss tracks?
Well,
yeah.
I just
Next.
Yeah.
Next.
I just think the best thing, some people ask, what can I do about this gun violence? What can I do about the hatred and the terrorism that's going on in this world? And what can I do about this bullying that's happening with our youth? And I say to that, there's one very simple thing you can do. You don't have to throw a fundraiser. You don't have to march down the street screaming and blowing your whatever noisemaker.
Air horn.
Air horn that you have. What you can do is simply be your authentic self and do the great work through your passion. And by way of just committing yourself to doing good work and leaving this earth a more beautiful, a better place, is the best and most positive work that you can do as a human.
Yeah, I agree. And be truthful, they're just basic foundational things that you should do as a human being.
Yes. And if we get away from that, then we're talking greed, we're talking one-upping people, and we're talking about power and that kind of greed, the money greed and the power and status. And really, like we said earlier, people make fun of us sometimes when we're just private music teachers and we're teaching piano lessons.
People make fun of you no matter what. I mean, I've been made fun of my whole life. I was always
we both have been through that, and we know what it's like to be on that side. There are people, Jen Yates, that have walked this earth that have never experienced that. And
I know.
That's exactly what we're dealing with, are these people who have never experienced that side of the thing. And if you haven't experienced being downtrodden on or felt like less than, then you're going to naturally not have a sympathy for those people. That's why we need to encourage traveling, encourage intermingling with other societies and other nationalities.
I was going to say, it always goes back to that. It always goes back to people like what they're comfortable with for some reason. They like the same. If you're the same as me and we're the same, then we're comfortable. Anytime somebody invades that is not the same, that's where people get weird. And really, it's just based out of being scared, I think.
Well, in a volatile life that reality puts upon us, sometimes as we get older, honestly, I feel like some people tend to just, I just want to create my sanctuary. I don't want anyone near the sanctuary and the peacefulness that I've created. And the fact of the matter is that you can still have your sanctuary and thrust yourself into the volatile nature of the world. And that's not to be dramatic or to be scary or to think that you're having to cross the street without looking both ways. What you're doing is just living in the world that has been given to us and trying to do your best to contribute to it. If you turn your back to it, you're doing no better than the person who's doing the actual negative work.
Right.
So it's better to, rally the troops.
Look at you getting all philosophical on
Well, I
this
just
today.
think it's important. And,
No, I love everything you're saying, and I completely agree with you.
Not to get, like I said, we don't have to get political. All we need to do is do what we love and create our music. That's all we need to do.
Yeah.
And if people would just, that's another thing.
No, go for it.
I just feel like
Get on that soapbox.
If people just realize that they don't have to do so much, it's not about figuring out what you have to do. It's about just coming back to your inner pool, the inner divine pool that we all have, and just being true to it. Looking at yourself, when you look at a pool and there are no ripples and you can see yourself,
reflection,
just who you are. That is what everyone needs to get their inner pool to, a very calm nature, so that you can just see who you are and what you can do for this world. You don't have to do so much. It's literally, I always turn to this, Glinda, Lord, God love her. You've always had the power.
You've always had the power.
You've always had the shoes. Those cha-cha heels.
There's so many famous movies over hills, aren't there?
There you go.
I mean, The Wizard of Oz literally over a pair of shoes.
But you know what? If you realize that your damn shoes that you're wearing are going to be the support that gets you to where you need to go, you already have what you need.
Right.
Boom. Mic drop. Ring that damn bell.
Oh, yeah. We love this bell. I'm like, I think I've already beat it. Ring my bell.
Ring my bell.
Ring my bell. Yeah. I could sit and do that all day with you. So that's wild, man. taking it back, total philosophical, Is there anything music-wise that we've left out that you've got going on? Because you always keep like a kabillion different projects.
I'm going to not even talk about me anymore,
Okay,
believe
sure.
it or not, ladies and gentlemen.
Sure.
But that's why I'm here, right? That's why you asked me to
Right.
be here. I want to talk about what's happening on August 25th.
Okay. What's
This-
going down August 25th?
Well, I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is. Let me see. But okay, so do you all know Kemet Cantwell?
I love Kemet Cantwell.
Love
We
me
just
some
did
Kemet.
She Castle together.
Well, do you know what? She's actually. Well, I'll say one more thing about me. She's singing in my cabaret on Thursday.
You're so lucky.
But she is going to be venturing into the musical theater realm.
Ooh.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, ring the bell.
Ring the bell? You're
not-
telling me something. She's supposed to be in on my show coming up soon, too.
Oh, you're gonna have such a blast with her.
Oh, then I definitely
Can
will
we,
talk
like,
to her about this.
I want to be here with her at one point. We would
Hey,
have so much
how about
fun.
this? If she's not listening today, how about when I have her in, I will message you and you can sneak down here and surprise her. That would be fun.
That would be some footage you're gonna want to repeat.
Oh, we'll live stream it.
Okay, so anyways,
Next.
Kemet and the Fleetwood Mac cover band Back to
Yeah,
Mac.
Back to Mac.
And not only that, folks, but we all love.
She makes a hell of a Stevie Nicks.
Yes, she does. And do you know who else makes a hell of a Heart cover girl?
Who?
Heart. Think Heart.
Oh, I Heart Heart.
Who is?
Natalie Patron Felkner. Which
Jazz.
one? The other one.
Oh my gosh. girl.
I'm having a brain freeze because you put me on the spot.
I'm sorry. I hate it when people do that
Yeah,
to me.
me too.
Well, Carly Johnson.
Carly Johnson,
Carly
that's right.
Johnson.
Ching,
Carly
ching, ching.
Johnson
I knew that.
And her Heart band and Kemet Cantwell and her Fleetwood Mac band all on the stage. And I believe also Steely Danish are all going to be on stage.
Isn't that Ray Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes, he's going to be in here on our show
I
as
ran
well.
into Ray at the Brooklyn Bowl when I was in New York, and I bowled and listened to them.
By the way, I got to play the Brooklyn Bowl several times. It was a great show.
It's kind of bougie.
Yeah, it's very bougie.
Very expensive bowling.
Well, I didn't have to pay for nothing though. I was in the band that
Well, good.
played
You
there.
shouldn't
Freak
have
Bass
to.
plays there all the time. But
I
yeah,
remember. What did I do?
Brooklyn man represent New York City.
I bought the band some like dumplings or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
So
was feeling
Ray Rizzo
inspired.
was at the Brooklyn Bowl and you ran into him.
Yeah, they were doing it was rumors at the time.
Oh, cool.
And they were playing a show, and unfortunately, not many people showed up. But girl, I was out there dancing my ass off.
Last time I went to New York City, which was last January, I flew up there to do a record with this chick named Babylon. Anyway, I stayed at Ray's place. He offered this place for me.
Yes.
And I flew in, and then as soon as I landed, was a blizzard. It was like entire cars underneath the snow. So I had to drag my cymbals all the way through Times Square and on the subway
I
and stuff.
remember that.
Yeah, it was wild. I was freezing, and I didn't pay attention, so I didn't take the right clothes. I didn't pack the right stuff. I didn't know it was going to have this big snowstorm, you know?
Yeah, it's a little much.
So,
New York City.
Since you always say I'm bougie, I was like, no, this girl is so not. I put on like a garbage
you know I'm
bag
joking.
and walked through that
No,
shit.
girl, you go to battle, girl.
I know, no.
Got to do what you got to do.
I'm more Kentucky simple.
That's
what
fine.
I call it.
Well, there are moments, girl, when you look at me and your eyes turn into slits and your voice gets lower.
Yes.
and very sultry, and you
Right.
say, "I'm gonna skin you like I skinned
Getting
that
that catfish last night. That might be my favorite quote of all time. I have videos of you doing that. You would just open a door and say, I'm going to skin you like I skinned that catfish last night. I actually thought about this morning when I woke up. I thought, we need to start the show like that, with that saying. So I'm glad you brought that up, because we're finishing the show with that saying pretty much.
Honestly, I mean, if I were in a dark room and I heard your voice say that to me, I would definitely be like, well, this is it.
Really?
Oh, girl.
I don't want to scare you.
Oh, she's
I want
getting all innocent
I
on
want the
us.
voice to be all like sexy. I want, you know what I'm saying? I don't want it to be scary. I want
Can
it
you
to be
say
like
that?
hot.
Can you say the line again, one more time? Third time's a charm,
Okay.
and do it like you've been doing it, and say it one more time.
Okay. Ready? I'm gonna skin you like I skinned that catfish last night.
I'm dead.
It's not Sweeney Todd, man. I promise.
I'd hear a banjo in the distance, and I'd know death has arrived.
Why do you think that, though? You think my voice is just scary, or you just think my personality can be quite scary?
Honestly, I think if you have a remarkable voice, of which you have a remarkable one,
Thank
I think
you.
You should utilize it to your best ability. So if you can scare the shit out of me saying that, work it.
All right, right on. Well,
you need to quote the Raven, Nevermore, girl. you need to
just walk around reading Edgar Allan Poe.
There you go.
Or who's the other dude? The oh man,
Vincent
I can't.
Price.
Lovecraft. Yeah, Vincent Price. Vincent Price was I was like a huge fan of his growing up. I loved his voice, and this was like pre-Thriller, basically.
Cummings, like poetry like that.
Oh yeah, I like all the dark. The Lovecraft is pretty groovy, and I forget who it is. Edward Gorey, that does the dark paintings or like drawings. You've seen those?
Oh yeah, the alphabet.
Yes, I love that. That's super cool.
The morbid alphabet.
Yeah, the morbid alphabet.
I love it.
Yeah, I've always had a little darkness to me, but I mean, I can be a good girl, but it's just
you are a good girl.
I try to do good things for the world. I mean, I really do.
You're a healthy blend of a lot of different things, which is great.
Yeah. We're all onions, right? With layers and layers and layers.
The heart of darkness.
You know what I was going to say, though, is so I went through a lot of heartbreak, and I went through a lot of death, and I've gone through losses of bands and all kinds of things in the past couple years, and literally almost changed everything about everything I was doing. I wrote a lot. That's the only time I write, is when I get really upset. I'm angry. I'm upset. That's just how I channel my music. Like, I use it as therapy. I don't use it to be like, oh, this is a beautiful piece. When you're a drummer, I feel like you've got a whole different kind of background, when you look at songwriting. But I finally did realize I'm going to use my voice for things. And man, I wrote like 25 plus songs lately, and I'm about to drop some of them. And a couple of them are a little creepy. I'm not going to lie. They're a little dark. And I feel like it's only because I've gone through a lot of darkness in the past couple years, and a lot of very tough things.
I'd rather hear that than hear some overly studio produced pop singer who sounded as though they had some sort of lobotomy before going into the studio. I mean, seriously.
Well, I definitely didn't have no lobotomy going into the studio, but it's weird. I write different, and I've tried to like take little classes here and there on how to write better songs, because I'm not a songwriter by any means, but I love to try my best and put out different things. And so this, I just let it be. I just get creative in my space, in my studio, and just see where it goes. I don't have any preconceived notions about what I'm about to do. I let it all organically happen, like even coming up with beats and writing things like that, and then lyrics, and I might have one main idea, and then I just try to brainstorm off of that. But I let the song naturally happen as it's supposed to, for some reason. Unlike a lot of people who will already, structure out a song and have every lyric written, or
Well, that's the beauty of music, is that people bring different approaches. Some people start with a bass line. Some people start with a melody.
Mm-hmm. And I almost always write to beats, obviously.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I think a lot of hip-hop is influenced that way. We were talking about this with David Bowman. I'd love to get your take on it. He was saying that hip-hop is so magical because it usually is just about the vocal, the lyrics, and the beats. And it takes out the tonality of almost the melody lines, almost always. And he goes, and that's what makes it magical, because usually you have to have that tonality to have some sort of emotion. Like, that's usually what hits our heartstrings a lot of times, that are lyrics. And so I was like, that's an interesting take on that musically. What is your idea on hip-hop? I don't know.
My idea on hip-hop?
Well, yeah, just your take on it, because I love to get like super trained musical people and talk about the most simplistic types of music, you know what I mean? Because I always say this, I've worked with so many people who were trained, and they tend to, not saying everybody does, but like I would say 80% of the trained people in music have a hard time finding the creative space in music, where it's like the ones who play by ear, who aren't really that trained to. And I think it's because your brains are so in depth with it, like theory wise, that it's, something as mundane as writing a song that's got 3 chords would seem very juvenile to your brain. Does that make sense? Because you are so in depth with the theory and the knowledge.
I'm a huge believer in the feeling of having like your, you could be a classically trained sight reading type student, or you could have a good ear and then develop your good ear.
Yeah.
I think those are 2 skill sets that do not equally I mean 99% of the time are not equally developed. You're going to have a strength in either one or the other.
Yeah.
And mine is definitely through the sight reading and analytical and music theory
Right,
and classically
you're very
trained
theory.
area. I am in awe of people who can really develop their ear to a point. And I think it's something that I try to work on. And
Yeah.
this cabaret work that I'm starting to get into, I think is going to help develop that too. But it's if you take a step back and just look at it, it's what makes the language so fun.
I know.
Because
I agree.
people have different strengths.
Right.
And wouldn't it be awesome to incorporate a very improv sort of by ear production of a piece, and then layer in a harpsichord riff in there. I mean, Nina Simone, for example.
I love Nina
Simone.
Simone.
Oh my gosh, I was just looking at some videos on YouTube from back in her heyday, and she was like singing this jazz tune, but then she'd go off into a Bach prelude, and during her riffs, she'd do Bach riffs in between her verses of her jazz piece that she was singing. And it was kind of like a Billy Joel in a way. You've got this pop singer that incorporates the classical training.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way to go. And that's the perspective to have, is to not feel as though, I don't at all think that any music is ever dumb or too simplistic.
Yeah.
There is greatness in simplicity.
Yes.
I love Enya.
I love Enya too.
Chords are not difficult, and they're not over the top brilliant, but the way she mixes it and the way she places it and the way she creates her energy through her music, through the way her style is.
She's very meditative, very
meditative.
zen,
Her
new
Shepherd Moon's album is one of my top favorite albums ever, because it evokes such emotion from me, and it speaks to me. And I honestly, she's an incredible artist. Not to mention, she's able to focus on the creation of her work and not worry about touring and doing live stuff. It's
you never see her tour ever.
It's all about her producing stuff that can be,
there's a lot of artists that are like that are very reclusive, and you very rarely hear from them and whatnot. Yeah.
To each is her or his own. It's
we're all emotional, creative, interesting beings.
Yeah.
Weird in our own forms, in our own right, but also very gifted and talented with music.
And that's part of what I love, is finding those people that have those unique skill sets and bringing them together.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like
you do a really good job of that too with Bourbon Broke, finding people out there and bringing them in.
Well, and I thank you. I really do. It's just something that I am passionate about. That's not even the work that I get paid for.
Yeah.
It's my obligation to bring together like-minded people who share this authenticity in their music together, because regardless of whether they're a jazz singer, or whether they are a trained classical pianist, or whether they're a musical theater singer, or some garage band person, if there is something there, they need to be brought together.
I agree.
And the magic happens when that, and it's so important to bring people together, because there are reclusive types, and I think it's such a loss to not let them, like they say, let the music play.
What's funny is, one of the best DJs I know. I mean, this guy is awesome. He never plays out. I've known some great, amazing musicians that were just terrified of being in front of a crowd. That was not their strong suit. And as you know, if you're playing music, you can't be terrified to be in front of a crowd. Obviously.
No, I never get over stage fright. I always have
Do you?
Oh yeah, but you know what? The difference in the stage fright that I first had is way different than what the stage fright I have now. Now the stage fright is, I take it, I put it in handcuffs, and
That sounds hot.
I make it my bitch.
Yeah, well, you got stuff. Wow.
I do.
I think bitch is a complimentary term. That's just me.
Well, it's part of the deal. I mean, you've got to have the dominatrix, and you have to have the person who gets bitch slapped.
But you're right. The dom and the sub, right?
And I make stage fright my sub. I really do. I think it's important to know who's boss.
I'm
going to go out there,
I do too.
and I'm going to do the best job that I can because you want that. You want to see the people have paid to see me go out there and be confident.
Right.
And that's why I'm a performer.
There's a very famous line that says the reason you keep getting hired back is because of your confidence, and that's true. It is very true in many ways for a musician.
We want people out there who are making choices because we want to see someone who's made a choice and is committing to it.
I agree.
And that is one reason why I'm in education, is because I want the young artists of tomorrow to really hone in on that concept of, we don't want to hear your pretty voice. We want to hear your artistry.
Yes.
And the decisions and choices that you make.
That's exactly what's wrong with the industry today, is they always try to find somebody who sounds exactly like someone else. And a lot of people I've noticed that about singers. They always try to emulate somebody else. But the whole point of being an artist is to be yourself and sound like you sound, pull influences from everybody you love, but you're not trying to mimic them.
Case in point, Patti Smith.
Yeah, fantastic case in point.
I mean, in no sense of the word is anything pretty about her.
Right.
Sorry. But the fact of the matter is that it makes her beyond pretty. It makes her gorgeous.
Well, and I love a guy in a dress and a femme dude. I just love a femme man. But
David Bowie, for example. I mean, you've got these examples.
I was going to bring up Robert Smith of The Cure, because he is very odd looking. He's very pale. He almost looks albino. His hair is crazier than crazy. His voice is so odd. It's like, but as soon as he sings, you know exactly who it is, because it's unlike anything you've ever heard before. And he writes great melody lines. I mean, his melody lines are classic.
And I think it's true. You just take a step. Well, I say take a step back a lot in this talk, but I think if people just
take a step back,
2 steps forward and maybe a step back.
I know. Paula Abdul just popped in my head too, with the cat. Doing the MC cat.
The panther.
Yeah, she's on a comeback. You saw her? Did you see her Grammy performance or her big performance?
I didn't.
Oh, it was great. If you get a chance to YouTube it, go back and check it out.
I need to. Yeah. I think someone just recently, who was it?
That girl still got it, and she's still hot. She can dance. I mean,
good for her.
Yeah.
There was a time when I was worried about her.
Yeah, there's a time when we should all
be worried about each other.
I tell people all the time, worry about me. It's nice to have somebody worry about me.
So glad she got off that awful show.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Well, I think she was getting a little tipsy, and they had videotaped her, but when you're living a life like they do, they get on these planes, they fly all over the country, they have no idea where they are half the time. People are handing you food and drink at any moment. You've got a rider, you can request, white M&Ms if you want, and a Mountain Dew, whatever you're drinking, you know what I'm saying? And it just, I don't think we can quite understand the lifestyle that would be. I mean, wouldn't you be a little doozy and whoozy if you were all over the country having to do all these PR pieces all the time, people in your face nonstop,
Well, she's had a career, and she's like, fuck it.
I know, exactly. And she's Paula Abdul, so
fire
fuck
my
it.
ass. Fire my ass. I don't
Exactly.
care.
She can still dance though, so that's
good for her.
Yeah, but anyway, her piece, they paid tribute to her and her 20 years of career or something like that at some kind of a music award show recently, and it was fantastic. They even had the little cat, the drawn cat, came back out and did an appearance, and it was this whole mashup.
Must have been a moment for her.
It was really cool. Yeah.
That's really
anyway,
great.
Yeah, but who didn't love Paula Abdul?
No, it was great.
What do you think of Madonna?
What do I think of her?
Yeah. Are you a fan, not a fan?
I think she's great.
Cool.
I think speaking of people who've been through it, she's been through it. And
she's wearing grills nowadays, though. I'm like, come on. Madonna.
I will say that's a little much. The pandering
I
to
do
the
love the
generations.
bitch, I'm Madonna. I love that track, though. Man, some of her newer stuff is kind of interesting.
I think, given the industry she's in, I think she's a success. I mean, obviously, it's Madonna.
Do you remember? I don't know how old you are. I know you're a little bit younger than me, but I mean, when I was growing up, I remember exactly where I was when it was. Everybody remembers when a president shot. I remember where I was when Madonna crawled across the stage in a wedding dress. I mean, She raised the bar for sexuality when I was growing up. So being a very sexually gender confused child that I was in a very small town where it was not spoken of and not, everything had to be hidden, I just like really loved her because she was like a very empowering female to young girls back then. I felt like she almost in a weird way gave me a voice to just say whatever I thought and speak openly about who I am.
And do you know who the person is today that does that for our next generation of...
Gaga?
It's even worse.
Even worse?
Even worse. Do you know the person who we...
who I love
Madonna,
is that little Halsey chick.
We say Madonna.
With her.
Or we say Cher. We say something epic like that. And do you know who it is for our daughters?
Are you going to say like Taylor Swift?
Vomit. I'm sorry, I just can't get behind that.
Yeah, I know, but I went to see her in concert last year, and I loved it. I loved it. She had these snakes coming out and like sold out, and she had this light show.
I think she's...
But at least she writes her own stuff.
Do you know who
got to give her that.
Let's just let me tell you who I really want to see live.
And then we're going to wrap it up.
Okay, who I really want to see live, please do a tour, please come to the Yum Center, is Jessie J.
Oh, I love her.
That girl can sing.
Yeah.
She has got such an awesome voice. She just sang...
that song that I love so much of hers? Boom, something about boom or...
I love Domino.
Dominoes.
Take me...
Yeah.
Not the pizza.
I know. I wasn't even thinking of pizza. I actually was thinking of Dominoes, the game.
Take me down like I'm a domino.
Nice.
Yes, girl.
What was the other one? Bang, bang. That's when I'm at. Bang, bang. I love that one. You know what I'm talking about? It was one of her earliest tracks that she had a hit with. It's called Bang Bang. Jessie J.
Oh, it's all about the money. God, she's so good. I love her. And
she's
got
good. Yeah,
her little riffs that she does, vocal riffs. She's amazing. And I saw Darren, my Pasadena Prince, sent me a link to her singing "On My Own" from Les Mis, and it was just like give the girl. Give her
Grammy.
Well, she needs to be in a she's going to be...
Oh, give her a Broadway show. Yeah.
She just needs to be one of those triple threats like Tony, Oscar, Emmy, Grammy, whatever.
By the way, since we're talking about Broadway, I'm going to get to play Louisville Pride with a Broadway chick with my all-female band from Chic Castle.
And when is Louisville Pride?
September 21st, I believe. Don't hold me to that, but I think it's the 21st of September. It's in Bardstown Road. Anyway, LaVon Fisher-Wilson, who I've had in here, who's back and forth, she was in the original Newsies on Broadway. Okay. She's also in The Color Purple with the Fantasia, when Fantasia did it, a couple of other things. Her base is here in Louisville, and she runs a group called the Queens of Funk and Soul. And they've got the outfits and the whole nine and the dance moves. And she's a Y-Pass chick. Yeah, you should.
Do they perform here?
They're about to perform with Jen Yates in the Highlands at Pride.
Okay. I'll be there.
Yeah. They just performed in New York City, though, at Tribeca, somewhere up through there. And then she's also back and forth between here and L.A. But she's a musical Broadway theater chick. Yeah, you would love her. Yeah, I've had several Broadway theater people in on this show. Garrett Sorensen, who won the Grammy for Louisville, was in talking about the re-evolution of Steve Jobs that was out in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Yes.
I didn't get to go see it. I should have. But he won the Grammy for that for Louisville, Kentucky.
I think I know there was a guy named Ed Parks who went to Oberlin, who I believe was also maybe in that production. If not that one, then one prior to it.
He said it was really cool, and we've got to wrap it up, but he said the conductor was really into electronics, so he'd be conducting the orchestra and then have all these turntables and scratchy things and like machines around him. Like, dude, now that's pretty groovy. You know what I mean?
That's the way that music needs
By the way,
to go.
we also had Shannon Conley on. She's from New York City.
I love Shaka Khan.
Not Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan. Oh, Shaka Khan. I always hear the Whitney Houston saying that. Shaka Khan, you know.
Mama B!
Yeah. No, but she was the lead singer of Led Zeppelin, who's the all-female Led Zeppelin cover band, but she was on the National Broadway show Hedwig and the Angry Inch beside Neil Patrick Harris, and now she's doing the tour across the country with it. Yeah, so anyway, we've had a lot of cool Broadway people on. a lot of
great.
theater stuff. Anyway, John Austin Clark, it's been so great to have you up in the studio today. I always enjoy talking to you.
The party's over. It's time to pop the balloons.
You can't-
The party's over.
You can't go home. What is it? You can't stay here, but you got to go home. You can't stay here, yo.
Don't take me away. Stop it. No. Leave me alone.
Oh, I think I've rang the bell more today than I ever have on this show. I have rang it. We've donated all kinds of money to charity today. I appreciate you being on the show. Check out Bourbon Baroque. Also, you can check out just about anything you can do. You can find you online, right? JohnAustinClark.com.
Yes, you can. Thank you, Jen
Do it
Yates.
to
You are
it.
amazing.
I love you. Tune in tomorrow. I've got Steve Cooley is going to be up in the
Lovely.
Groovy studio. So
Peace.
anyway, you're locked on to LRS102.com.
More
the
cowbell.
Walrus Jyneration Nation. And as always, keep it groovy.